Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 23 with me, Dan, and the Razor Sloth Tech team. We've got one sprint race to go, that's today here in Qatar, and we'll start off by getting some upgrades for the chassis, which are in dire need of being done. Looks like we're going to get the crankshaft, hopefully, at the start of the Qatar Grand Prix, which will help, I think, maybe. We'll find out. Well, it looks like it will do because it's an engine upgrade. So it's off to the weekend we go. And there's a quick look at the performance graph just briefly because we're now up to 4th ahead of Aston Martin at last. Hasto have made a great leap there since the last race. As of Alpine, McLaren now the 3rd worst car on the grid. Williams jumping up ahead of them as well. So a real mixed bag across the field. We've got no regulation changes coming into effect for next season, so we're probably going to have a few maxed out cars partway through season 3, which is going to be good in some ways and bad in others, because we're going to have to try and make up for the increased performance of everyone else in skill at the wheel. There's no other way of putting it. On to practice 3 now. So we've had our sprint qualifying and we're just going to spend it going for those points. And then over to R&D. Once again, we're going to pick up that DRS upgrade, hopefully in time for the Mexican Grand Prix, which is up next. And there is that crankshaft being completed. So then over to race 1 of 2 today here in Qatar for the Qatar Airways Qatar Grand Prix. I think at the end of last video, if anyone actually watched to the very last line that I said guitar. I don't really know why, because the last I checked, Qatar and a guitar are very different things. Onto the starting grid then for the sprint race, and on the front row it's us alongside George Russell. I think we put some new components in the car, as we did back in F1 22, I think, when we came here for the first time. So that's why we're so high up the field. Then we've got Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez, Jack Doohan, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, and Alex Albon in the top 10. Kevin Magnussen, Lance Stroll, Valtteri Bottas, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, Nico Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, Joe Guan Yu, Teo Pourchaire, Logan Sargent, and finally Yuki Tsunoda and Nick De Vries. Interesting, McLaren way down the field now that they're driving the 3rd worst car, and actually Williams, even though their drivers are not the best, actually beating both of the AlphaTauris, who have a pretty awful car. I think it's just Alfa Romeo who are down there as well, but they've somehow managed to claw it back, I think, with driver skill. So then, on the front row here in Qatar, can we transform this sprint race into a win? And we get a great start there off the line, as does Doohan, actually, although he is blocked by the Red Bulls going down towards turn 1, and we sweep round turn 1 unchallenged. It seems that power unit that we've presumably put in the car, I don't remember when I edited this, so I don't actually know what I did. I think it was a new power unit anyway. It's doing us great here, and also I do like this circuit quite a lot, and compared to the last few races that I've done, this is up there as one of my favourites. It's just such a nice track to drive, so naturally I am going to do better here, unlike Singapore or Japan. Although I do like Japan, I'm just not very good at it. I'm a bit out of practice, but we're quite handily getting through here. But just a moment after we cut away there, Carlos Sainz up the inside at the triple right-hander stolen from the Turkish Grand Prix, and he takes the lead. But into the final corner we go. We're going to get a good run at him out of the final corner into the slipstream, and it's a drag race down the pit straight there. We're going to turn off the ERS just to make it a little bit more fun. Look at that split time. Very close there as we go down into turn 1. We're going to let him have it for now. Mainly because I really can't be bothered to fight him, and at least it's making some entertainment as we tailgate him across the track. Looking to the inside again now, into the double right-hander, and we give him plenty of room and retake the lead.
Nice move. Keep going.
Fastest sector 1 for us as well as we jump back to our TV cam. Bit of a slide there, actually. It's made us vulnerable, and Slothz back up the inside and almost allowed George Russell to get back through as well. Russell trying to reclaim some territory against his teammate Lewis Hamilton, who has won the past 2 races and pushed Russell, I think it's 26 points back behind Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship as we dive up the inside of Carlos Sainz. Nearly have a massive accident there and run a little bit wide, but I don't think the stewards noticed, so we're actually doing okay. Perhaps a little bit there as well, but again, the stewards have not said anything, so I'm not going to complain. So it's down towards the start-finish straight. I think we would have got that fastest lap there, and we join same place at the end of lap 2, and now into lap 3. Sainz gets past us into turn 1, but we sweep back round the outside of the Ferrari back into P1, and it looks as though Lewis Hamilton is now under attack from Charles Leclerc as we come down towards the double right-hander. Leclerc is ahead. It's really hard to see what is going on back there because we're not focused on it entirely. Leclerc is ahead of Hamilton. Hamilton drops back, but this isn't the main event, of course. We do have the actual race to do later on. He might be able to recover. Doohan still in 7th and not able to find a way past Max Verstappen, but here we are on the end of lap 3. We've got the DRS. Maybe Doohan can find a way past, much in the same way that Sainz is finding a way past us now as we block George Russell from going around the outside and once again drop into the slipstream of Carlos Sainz. The Ferrari's aero definitely nowhere near as strong as ours is, so this isn't the easiest to do, following him around here, because he isn't very quick through corners. That being said, our chassis is pretty terrible as well, so we're not quite so balanced. But look at that corner in the ability through the final corner there as we go powering down towards the back of the Ferrari. Round we go. It's a new fastest lap for us, despite having 2 horrible sectors at the start of the lap. And it's a 1:22.5 to beat. As we come on to the final lap now, or this is the final few corners of the final lap. We were not challenged again by anybody, and we've managed to stay ahead of Sainz, actually dropping everyone else. That's quite a gap back to George Russell. He might actually get done here on the line by Charles Leclerc, as we had an enormous crash across the line. I think Russell stayed behind Leclerc there, actually. We'll find out in a moment. See who got the extra point. We got driver of the day for the sprint race, and it's over to the results screen. Sainz, Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton, Perez, Doohan, and Verstappen picking up points there at the end of that, with Alex Albon just missing out, as did Pierre Gasly, but they're in a good place for the race. So then it's over to the main event now here for the Qatar Airways Qatar Grand Prix. And once again, starting on pole position after that win in the sprint, Carlos Sainz was looking quite competitive there against us and managing to keep up with us throughout the entire sprint, probably with the help of the DRS as well. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell as well so you can stay up to date with all of the videos that I'm uploading. It won't be long now until I start uploading Season 3, so keep an eye out for that. Onto the starting grid then, and as we said, it's us alongside Carlos Sainz, green versus red into the first corner once again here in Qatar. We're followed by George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez and Jack Doohan, Max Verstappen, Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll. Kevin Magnussen and Valtteri Bottas, Oscar Piastri and a penalty for Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, Nico Hulkenberg, Théo Pourchaire, Zhou Guanyu, Yuki Tsunoda, Logan Sargent and Nick De Vries make up the rest of the field. Théo Pourchaire having a fairly good race actually, despite having not a great car. And down to the grid we go. The Aston Martin safety car out for this one. And a lovely sight behind it of our car. Way back though, Lando Norris not having a great time there near the back of the grid. His technicians need to get on researching for that car because they're not having a great time at all. Right then, here we go for the 5 red lights. Hopefully not encouraging Carlos Sainz with that colour. Looks like there's a great start actually for Piastri at the back there as he tries to plough through the field. And once again, going into turn 1, a bit more of a challenge this time from Carlos Sainz as he tries to get past us through the first corner, but he was unsuccessful. Jack Doohan moving up 2 places there ahead of race winner for the past 2 Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton, as Carlos Sainz goes down the inside again. Side by side we go as we sweep round the outside. We do maintain P1, and it's going to be us versus him all the way to the first pit stop, because behind George Russell sitting on the hard tyre, I think Doohan was on the medium and then Hamilton on the hard as well. So bit of a mix-up in tyre compounds going on there. It does mean that if we're not fighting too hard and just kind of leapfrogging each other on the DRS straight, then we could get quite far ahead of the rest of the field here. And you can already see how far back Russell is as Sainz again goes for a move, and Doohan as well goes for a move on George Russell for a podium position. Round the outside he goes, and he gets it. George Russell drops to P4 behind Jack Doohan. Now we've got to make the decision. Do we hold back Carlos Sainz to help Doohan, or do we leave him? This is his start, by the way. Gets past, I think that was Perez on his left-hand side, and then a bit of contact with Lewis Hamilton, but he does in fact get through. Obviously, we've been teaching him. And then he quite easily closes up to the back of Russell and just waits for the right moment behind the Mercedes to strike. There's a great view up ahead of the battle for first. And here he is going round George Russell. Early move to the outside, hits the limiter. Again, contact with the Mercedes, and it's worked. He's got round up into the podium. And then he'll just be looking off into the distance and hoping that we're not going to leave him behind. And in fact, we actually haven't left him behind. We've dropped back to stay within a second of him here, and he gets the DRS to help defend from Russell and Verstappen. And we just got to be careful that we don't let him through and then get held up. And that might be what's going on here as we go round the outside. Just about hanging on against our teammate here as we slip and slide around. He's still there alongside us, and he does get the place, as does George Russell, who takes advantage. We are running very worn soft tyres at this point, though, which will explain how he was able to do that. So I expect we're coming into the pits at the end of this lap as we just stay on board for a few moments. Does mean Doohan is losing out on his DRS that he's been very happy to take for the past few laps. And looking down the rest of the order, we've got a group of cars behind us, then the Aston Martins. Got a big leap back to presumably Lando Norris, but I don't understand what is going on back there that's caused him to drop back and go so slow. And what the other AI are doing, because they can't seem to get past him. Anyway, into the pit lane we go. Let's just check out that replay of Doohan. Up the inside he goes. Opened the steering a little bit there. Very cheeky. from our teammate as he slides around, trying to get around this circuit, and round he goes in front of us. This was Russell's view. Yeah, doing that with a little bit of a drift swipe on the side of our car. And as we open the door for Doohan not to crash into him or cause damage to either of our cars, we allow Russell through too. So new tyres are on and away we go. There's Hamilton. Hoping to climb up the field a little bit here after a pretty poor outing here in Qatar so far. And Lando Norris has decided to come into the pit lane. If he has got an engine issue, that's probably going to fix it. But he is quite far back. So no DRS benefits for him. But here we go, down the pit straight. Who is in the pit lane? There's a Ferrari. That is Carlos Sainz. And Sainz is still ahead of us, but not by much. Only a little. There he is, and he is running fresh mediums, so we're going to have to wait a little bit or push incredibly hard to try and catch up to him on these hard tyres. Once again then, on to the final corner, and let's just see, we've got a McLaren at the side of the track. Not entirely sure. I'm guessing it's Norris because there's another one in the pit lane. It would appear so. The other McLaren's in the pit, so it would make sense that Piastri is the one pitting right now. And we're up into P5. We've got Doohan and one of the Alpines up ahead. Charles Leclerc too, but Leclerc, well, he's already in the pits now. In comes the Alpine, and Jack Doohan has decided to stay out for some reason. But we're going to go to the inside of Sainz. We're going to push him against the edge just a little bit, and then sweep round turn one up the inside. Bit of a moment there on the exit, but we have kept the position. And now we've got to try and figure out a way to keep Jack Doohan on the podium. He's 14 seconds ahead, but it's about 20 odd seconds for a pit stop. This was Sainz getting overtaken by us into turn one. Up the inside we go, and lovely job on that one. Lap 12 then. Where is Doohan? That is the question. Looks like we're going quite slow here, and we've allowed Sainz to pass us before the DRS line. Little bit of tactics going on there as we go blasting down the pit lane. There's Doohan, so he's going to come out in about P100 after that pit stop, absolutely ruining his race as we go up the inside of Sainz again and get back into the position we should be in. Doohan exited the pit lane now, comes out, it looks like it's going to be P11, so yet again his terrible strategy has caused him to ruin his race as we go really messy there into the double right-hander. That we had Carlos Sainz and George Russell trying to go round both sides of us at the same time. Not great. I don't think there was contact. But we continue on to lap 13. End of lap 13 on to 14. Again, allowing Sainz past into the DRS zone. The AI not smart enough to understand what's going on. And we've been boxed in by Russell, who gets the double slipstream and the DRS and takes the lead of the Grand Prix, making our third leader, really, because Doohan wasn't really leading the race at any point. At least technically, yes, but realistically, he still had to make that pit stop. So now it's time to get past Russell. We've got the DRS, we've got the ERS. The Mercedes quite strong in a straight line, apparently. How is it in the corners? Well, apparently not good enough as we go around the outside, switching to the helicopter view, which is one of the best in the game, I think, apart from the fact that it's quite quiet and now it probably just sounds like the only thing you can hear is my voice. But you can see where the medium tyre really helps Russell close up right in the braking zone of the double right-hander. And again, As we run wide through the hairpin, he's going to go around the outside, I think, into the triple right-hander, and he does get the position off us. We're sliding around there in the background, just trying to keep the tyres, well, not molten as we drive around. Trying to find a way past. Nothing yet for us. I've just realised, actually, is that the older Mercedes? That's a zero side pod design on the car. Interesting. Anyway, down into turn one we go. Up the inside of Russell. Russell trying to hang on there around the outside, but we managed to keep P1 after we get past him on the straight. Doohan actually making some good progress, has moved up into 9th. Now he's back into 10th again, now into 9th. A mixed bag for Doohan. On board with Sainz. Can he get past Russell? Perhaps Russell has some damage, or he's dropped a little bit too far back as we push with all our might to try and get away from the Mercedes. Sainz failing there to get up the inside of Russell. And Doohan actually up into 8th now. Don't know if he's catching Albon. There's Albon. No, he's not catching Albon. But he's secured 4 points for the team. And on to the final lap we go. Doohan still in 8th, which is a good thing to see. But we would prefer him to be up with us fighting for that win, especially since he was doing so well earlier on in the Grand Prix. And I think that's essentially going to lead to a change in teammates at the end of the season, because I can't win a Constructors' Championship on my own. I am not Max Verstappen. And realistically, the other teams are going to be able to score more points than me more consistently. So I need a teammate who is going to score consistently and be consistently up on the podium as well, to try and beat the likes of Mercedes and Ferrari and sometimes Red Bull. It really depends how they're feeling. As we've seen so far this season with the likes of Verstappen having multiple incidents over the past few races. Most of the season, in fact. Red Bull aren't always up there. But up there we are. I've just noticed we got some damage to the nose, but no one's going to ask where we got that as we come down towards the start-finish line for the final time here. And it's a back-to-back win sprint and the race for Razor Slothz here in Qatar. We're not going to see Doohan go past, unfortunately. See what that gap was between him and Albon, but I saw something go past in the mirror. That might have been him. Driver of the day again for us. But most importantly, we had the win. Congratulated by Carlos Sainz. And now celebrating with the team up on the podium, nice and happy. Russell joining us as well. Hamilton not able to get back up there again for the 3rd time in a row. So it's Razor Slothz back on top. And looking over the results of the weekend, it's maximum points for us in the first place with both races, 34 points in total, followed by George Russell, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen, Jack Doohan, Alex Albon, Charles Leclerc, Lance Stroll and Pierre Gasly, all scoring points over the weekend. Over to the Drivers' Championship, George Russell reels in his teammate Lewis Hamilton. It's now just 18 points between them. Then it's a jump back to Charles Leclerc with 47 points off the lead in 3rd. A small leap back to myself in 4th. And we have Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll making up the top 10. At joint 11th, we have Lando Norris and Esteban Ocon, followed by Jack Doohan, Valtteri Bottas, Kevin Magnussen, Oscar Piastri, Yuki Tsunoda, Nico Hulkenberg, Joe Guan Yu, Logan Sargent, Teo Pourchaire and Nick De Vries. And finally, it's over to the Constructors. Mercedes now nearly 100 points ahead of 2nd place Ferrari. Then it's a jump back to Red Bull in 3rd. Razor Slothz 4th, then Aston Martin, Alpine, McLaren, Haas, Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, and finally Williams on 0. That's all for this race. We'll catch you next time in Mexico.